Hey everybody, it's Strict9 with Strict9 GP, and welcome to another episode of my Out of the Park Baseball 19 playthrough with the Phillies. And for the first time in a long time, one of the few times in this playthrough with this team, I'm able to say we're making a playoff push. We're in September, we got 19 games left, and we're at 81 and 62, currently tied with the Dodgers for the lead in the National League wild card. And we're on a 5-game winning streak. We're just 3.5 games behind the Nationals, so I wouldn't rule it out. But the division is going to be a big stretch at this point. But what I'm scared about, honestly, is the competition for that wild card spot. I would really rather see the Nationals tank and make it so that the division comes into play, because this is 3 strong teams going for that wild card, and you can see we're all playing hot. We're won 7 of 10 on a 5-game winning streak. Dodgers won 8 of 10. The Mets, who are just 1.5 games behind us, won 9 of 10, 8 in a row. So this is going to be a nail biter. There's no question about it. But I want to go over a few things. It's been a while since the last episode in terms of gameplay. The last episode was right before the trading deadline, went through up to the All-Star break, where we had a few offensive players got accepted there. But I'll look at a couple moves that I made on the team. We'll look at the team, how it's going, and then we'll go ahead and finish out the season. But I wanted to give an update too on what's going on with the rest of the leagues. In the American League, Baltimore still strong, hanging on to the East. Kansas City just running away with the American League Central. They've had a great second half, and may have one of the best with Medina, one of the best players in the league this year. Mariners also in good shape there in the American League West. It's going to be a little bit of a battle for that last wild card spot, or for the 2 wild card teams, because you've got a game separating Angels in Houston, Detroit just a half game over Houston, Texas, who were picked to win the division but had some injuries to overcome. They've got an outside chance of making the wild card, but it's probably going to be 2 of these 3 teams here. One of the things that's still going on in this American League this year is the home runs. So we've got 2 guys there, well over 50. Kostinko, 5-star player with Boston, has a chance at hitting 60 or more, pretty easily chance of hitting 60 or more, and might be one of the favorites for the MVP race, which he has never won the MVP. He's a fairly young player, so that would be a kind of a new player. Kinsler and a couple other guys have been kind of like top dogs in the American League for the last few years, so might be a new one this year. Although Kinsler having another good year, no question, he's still a great player, Hall of Fame bound for sure. Pitching, 15 wins, leading, so that's on the high side, honestly, for a lot of these playthroughs. And then the National League, you got that East really tight between us and the Mets, but Washington a fairly comfortable lead. Cubs, Pirates, pretty close there, just 2 games separating them, and really pretty weak year there. But the Pirates may have a good chance, because the Cubs lost 7 in a row, 9 of 10, and then Arizona and Los Angeles. So it could come down to the Dodgers winning the West, Arizona being in that mix for the playoff, for one of the wild card spots. Individually, we got a few guys showing up. Koopman, who led the league in batting last year, is currently leading again in the National League. Gordon having a great year, up to 45 home runs. That was a good trade for me in the offseason. He's really driving that offense. Rob LaRue, surprisingly, is leading the league in wins at 14. Definitely getting my money, and 3rd in strikeouts, so I'm definitely getting my money's worth from him. I wanted to go over the moves that I made, the guys that added to the team, and at this point I'm really not sure it was all that needed, but I think I lost when I lost God, I'm drawing a blank, sorry, when I lost Madrak, who was 3-star pitcher, one of my better pitchers on the team. I started looking around for just whoever might be available in the trading deadline. And Randy Mayhew came up, and this is a guy who I would have tried to sign when he became a free agent a couple seasons ago or off seasons ago. I thought he's had a pretty decent run, maybe with Atlanta. Had a good year anyway in 2036, fairly decent year, really 3 decent years with the White Sox. With pitching being such a valuable commodity in this league, he looked like he would be a good bet, and he's signed for a couple more years at about a just under $14 million for the next 2 years. But that's kind of where Rob LaRue is, and I thought he was comparable to LaRue, so I went for it. I traded for him. I traded Kwarteng. So I did call up Ian Norman, my number 1 prospect, and he's done a great job. So it was time to trade Kwarteng. That was looking at starting pitching. I think Mayhew was probably the best value that I was getting from that trade. And then on the offensive side, I found this guy, Juan Portillo. My scout thinks he's a potential 4-star player. He's just 24, almost 25 years old. Got great individual ratings. Can play left field really strongly. Has good defense. And has looked good in the minors at a few stops for the most part. But I just thought this guy might have a good future with us. He's just, he's not even up to a year's service. So he's going to be with the team if he turns out to be a good investment. He's going to be with the team several years through arbitration. And I decided, Villa, even though he's had a great year, if he gets injured again, I'm going to need some help in that outfield. So I went for him, and I'm glad I did, even though he's kind of, he hasn't been a game changer. He has been pretty steady when he's gotten a chance to start. But it's really been about offense overall on this team. I knew it was going to be. I did make a few moves in terms of calling some people up and trading a few people away to help with that bullpen. So we're at 7th in bullpen ERA, top 10 in opponents' average. Walks, strikeouts are doing pretty good. We've improved a little bit. I mean, from 15th, we're now at 11th in our run average for the team and 12th for the starters. But in the offense, you can see we're first in several categories, top 3 in almost every category except home runs and bases on balls. So it's really been that offense driving the team. And I hope that, that gets us into the playoffs at this point. Going through the pennant chase, and this is the last thing I'll look at before we get started. We have a game less left than Washington. So they're in a little bit of an advantage there. And they're also 20 games, 12 at home, 8 away. So I think of the 3 teams competing in this National League East, it definitely favors Washington, even though they have a tougher winning percentage schedule than either us or the Mets. I think 12 at home, 8 away, I think that's going to probably be the benefit there. They just got to hang on. For us, we've got 19 left, 10 at home, 9 away, remaining schedule at 5-10. So we've got the best schedule in terms of winning percentage of competition. So hopefully that helps us. And then with the Mets, they've got 18 games. So they're in a worse shape than us and Washington in terms of games remaining. And 11 are going to be away. And it's a tougher schedule, a little bit tougher than what we're going to play against. So I'm hoping that's going to be enough. I'm just this is going to be really needed. It's been, I should have hit the wrong thing there, but history. We haven't made the playoffs since 2032. So we're going back, 6 seasons, 5 seasons. It's been really, really few and far between. Only 5 times have we made the playoffs in this playthrough out of 21 years now. So it's been one of the more challenging ones I've ever done. But this year would be nice to really to make it again. And honestly, at 81-62, at this point, we're going to finish above 500, which we haven't done in a few years. Overall, if we don't make the playoffs, I think it's still going to be a success, considering where we started. But I really want to make it. And let's go ahead then and get started. We're going to start out on the road against San Francisco, last in the American League West. Hopefully they're not playing spoiler here. So let's get it started. And it's taking a while. First game, 12-3, a big win. We lost a big injury there in the minors, but he's not a major prospect. So 12-3. Portillo, the guy I was talking about, had a great game. And how good is Villa when he's healthy? Like I said before, this guy is probably one of the best players in the game. But he's currently on the DL. It looks like, or he's going to be. He was injured again, and that's really why. That's why I picked up Portillo, because I did not think Villa was going to make it. Last time we had a playoff run with him, he was injured. I think No, I don't know if he's been here long enough. No, he came over in 2035, so he hasn't been here since we've made the playoffs. But I didn't figure he would make it. So looking at this game again, some big performances from Gordon, Koopman, Portillo. McSparron picked up his 9th win. He's back in that starting rotation with Madrak out. And let's see if it tells me what kind of injury Villa is going to be looking at. Nope. Dave Hubschman, guy who's a former MVP, he's still playing, hits 2,000. Okay, second game against San Francisco, 13-4. Man. Offensively, and now we're 2.5 games behind Washington. Another good game for Portillo. He's going to be the starter, looks like. Guire back in the lineup after I sent him down after I picked up Portillo, and hopefully he's going to be ready to go in that right field spot for next year. LaRue picked up his 15th win. Ward, this guy's still struggling. I don't know what to do with him. But we're going to see what the injury is. Just 2 days, day to day. Not bad. Not bad. So let's see if we can sweep San Francisco. And we do, 4-1. And Madrak is ready. I got to bring him up at this point. He's been out for a while, but there's no rehab assignment available. So Portillo's still playing really tough. I hate to move him out of the lineup. Hines, great game, 34 save for Mendoza. Let me check the lineup, see how it's going. Yeah, I've got Portillo. Even though he's not rated that highly, I've got him starting in center against righties and lefties. So that leaves me with Vargas and Villa, putting him over at right. That way I'm able to keep those two guys' bats in the lineup. And in terms of Vargas, how's he doing? Offensively, not too bad. I mean, he's doing what he's usually done. On pace for 95 runs, 40 plus stolen bases. I mean, he's doing what he's always done. So hopefully that's going to be enough. And I got a trade proposal, but that's not going to happen at this point in the year. And then the 4-1 game, Villa 2 for 4 drove into. Portilla, another good game. Oh, I've already looked at that. Sorry. So now I'm going to have to think, what am I going to do with the pitching staff? McSparron has been pretty hot lately. Let me see. August, September, he's looking pretty good. Lugo, not looking as great. But you know what? I still think I've got to put Madrak in there for McSparron, and make McSparron the long relief guy, and make him the emergency starter if it's needed. So now we got a big series coming up. Greg Pham, a number 1 pick. Flynn's already out for 6 weeks. And he's had a pretty decent rookie season in the minors. Hopefully he's not going to be an injury risk. So we got the Mets, 3 games at home. We're 2.5 behind Washington, but we've gained some ground over the Mets here. So let's see if we can keep it going. First game, lose 2-7. This could be where they really catch back up to us. Madrak, first start back, not a good game. And then Second game, 7-4, so we claw back a win. That's good. Portillo, another good game. His average is up to 280 now. Villa, pretty decent game. Vargas, a home run. I moved Vargas down lower in the lineup as well. Mayhew got a good outing from him to pick up the win. And now last game, let's see if we can win the series. Oh, we don't. 2-10. So they gained a game back from us. Couldn't get anything going on this one. Lugo struggling, and Ward still struggling. I don't know what to do with this guy. He should be better than that. He's coming off a decent year last year. So now what do we have to look through? Great week for Steinbell. And weekly power rankings were second. And looking at the standings now, we're just 2.5 games back. We've won 8 of 10. Chicago, and man, that's going to be a tight one down to the wire there in the Central. Arizona, just a game over the Dodgers now. We're a game and a half up over the Dodgers, 2.5 over the Mets. Whew. I hope we can do that. Kansas City's already clinched, and Baltimore and Seattle, they're probably going to have a good time of it. Gordon now leading the league in RBIs. So we got 3 against St. Louis, 4 against Washington. This is going to be the week that determines whether we're in or not. First game, 13-4. That offense has just really driven us. Lohman, a good game, 6 RBIs. Gordon, Villa, Bess coming off the bench, multi-hit games from those guys. And then LaRue is 16th win, 13 Ks in 6 innings. So that gives him 4 shy of 200 and 16 wins. That's got to be a career high for him. It is. Previous career high was 13 2 years with us. So game 2 against St. Louis, we lose 0-2. Pitchers duel. Hines, another good game, but Rock, who is he's a decent pitcher. I thought he was one of their better pitchers, but we couldn't pull this one out. So now we got one game left against St. Louis, and we lose the series. Lose the last game 4-3, and now we are just 2 games up over New York in that wild card spot. Oh my gosh. Madrak, another pretty poor outing, but hopefully he's back. And he can give us another good start before the year's over. So this is do or die. 4 games against Washington. If we win 3 of these, I mean, we're going to be close. I don't know if it'll be close enough. We're still a game and a half over the Dodgers, 2 games over the Mets. We can't afford to lose this. Washington, they've lost 4 of 10. We just can't afford to lose any here. First game, we win 9-5, big win. We're at home. That's going to help us. Portillo, a good game. Villa, 3 for 4, batting average up to 324 this year. Gordon just having a monster second half. He was actually player of the month, I believe, in August. He's looking good. He was the All-Star Game MVP as well. Great year from him. Mayhew didn't get the win, but not a terrible start from him. Chris James out for the year. That really hurt Atlanta's chances. I think they gambled big on this guy, almost $20 million, and he gave him 18 starts. All right, so game 2 against Washington. Squeaker, but we lose in extra innings, 10-11. Not what we needed to see. Some good offensive performances, obviously. Vargas, 2 for 3, drove in 4, 3 walks. That guy he knows how to get on base for sure. But Lugo, another bad outing. Ward, another bad outing. You know what? This is what I'm going to do with that pitching. Ward, I'm going to use less often. And then I'm going to put McSparron in there for Lugo. I think Lugo has struggled a little bit too much down the stretch, and McSparron has really stepped it up. So we got 2 more games to salvage this one. We at least need to split, I think, to hang on to the wild card. Game 3, can't do it, lose 7-9. We're holding off New York, but barely. Another decent outing offensively from several guys. Multi-hit games from a few. LaRue was hit really hard, and this unfortunately is the kind of pitcher that he is. 7 runs in 6 innings, and that did it for us. So let's see if we can split the series. Game 4, we lose 4-8. So that essentially gave Washington the division, and we're now still just 2 games over the Mets. Villa's still hot though. What a great player this guy can be if he's healthy. McSparron, probably not a great experiment. He bombed right away. So Kinsler 5 hits in the game. Player of the week, Zach Lanier for Washington. He probably helped him win against us. We moved down quite a bit, 14th in the power rankings, and then standings. We're neck and neck with New York now, or excuse me, the Dodgers now. Pretty much out of it, I think. The Nationals would just have to collapse big time. Pittsburgh has overtaken the Cubs. The Cubs did collapse, but Pittsburgh's winning with a losing record. And then still, Arizona and Dodgers just a game apart. So we got Atlanta and Washington on the road. And that's going to be how we finish out. So we'll have a chance to get some revenge on Washington. But we're now 2.5 games up over the Mets. Looks like they lost again. Madrak wanting to re-sign. Okay, here we go. First game on the road against Atlanta. Lose 5-6. Not good. Not good. New York is just a game and a half back. And this is our downfall. It's going to be the pitching that hurts us. Transu, though, who's been reliable, blew it in the bullpen on this one. We gotta win at least 2 or 3 from Atlanta, and we lose again 2-6, and we are just a half game over New York. I'm scared now. I'm really scared. This is going to be we're going to blow it, and it looks like the bullpen now not doing good at all. We got a player development update just came through. I'm going to scan through it. And just like I suspected, John Ward, this guy was a bust. And I'm probably going to trade him away if I can, get rid of him. Ken Transu is a guy I signed for a couple years. He's had a good year. I'm happy with him. Ian Norman advancing again, getting a healthy number of starts down the stretch. I'm not putting him full-time yet. So, Best still the starter. Sean Villa, who will be gone after the offseason. Salcido. If you guys down there in low A, I'll have to look at. He's currently out, but a couple guys that might look good. So let's batters of the month. Josh Gordon, once again, his second Batter of the Month trophy back-to-back this year. Starters, Hoback, and pitchers, Neville's in St. Louis. And then rookies, Juan Portillo for the Phillies. So another good move, I think. I'm thinking this has some potential in the future. I mean, you look at what he did in September, really solid. 314 average, 5 homers, 25 RBIs. I like the trade that I made for this guy. I think it was actually a pretty decent prospect that I gave away, but he's been fragile, and honestly, he hasn't looked all that great at times in the minors. Although, geez. He was looking good for Reading. I mean, he was looking pretty good for us. But I didn't really see him with a future, mainly because he's not the kind of pitcher that I can rely on. He's got several good pitches, but his stamina's low and his movement's low. He's only going to be a reliever, so that was a good pick. And then Washington they've clinched the National League East, and now we are currently trailing the Dodgers big time in just a half game over the Mets. This is a must-win game against Atlanta, and we lose it. So we are tied with New York. We are collapsing big time down the stretch. Hines, a decent game, but we just couldn't overcome Atlanta there. So the Orioles win. So it's going to come down to the last 3 games against a pretty hot Washington team. Well, I say hot. They were strong enough to overcome a couple challenges from us and the Mets, so I'll give them that. I wish we were finishing up against the Mets, who the Mets looks like they're going to be playing Colorado on the road. Here we go. I'm not liking this one bit. So first game, we win 6-3. The Mets win as well. Pretty decent outings here. Vargas injured though. Don't know if that's a really big injury at this point. LaRue's 17th win, just 1 earned run in 6 innings. Mendoza his 35th save. Those are the 3 guys really that have been pitching, that have been helping me the most. I think is LaRue, even though his ERA is pretty bad, and then in that bullpen, Mendoza's been pretty reliable as a closer. He was actually pitcher of the month in, it was this year. I think it was, I wonder why it doesn't tell me when. Yeah, for June, he was pitcher of the month. So you guys saw that in the last episode. And then Espinal, he's been so solid as a reliever. I like this guy's makeup. He could possibly be the closer going in to next year. So game 2 against Washington, we lose, but so did New York. Wow, we lose 5-7. Gordon up to 49 home runs. Lohman up to 100 RBIs. So a very productive year from him. McSparron pitched a good game. Mannion probably shouldn't have that guy up there. He's really been toast since I called him up. But here we go. Cubs out, Pirates win, and the Dodgers. So now it is up to us and the Mets on who's going to be that last wild card. I hope it doesn't go down to this, but here we go. Please win. Oh, we lose, and we're out. So New York did what they had to do, and we pretty much tanked. Not a good way to end it. 5-0. Madrak blew it. Although it wasn't a terrible game. There's probably some more going on in this game, but offense really started to struggle there down the stretch. Although we finished, still top of the league in several categories. Last couple months were pretty poor for us. September, just a game over 500, and lost 3 or 4 in October. Starters and the rest of that team pitching was just wasn't enough. I think 88 wins is pretty much a victory. But God, I hate to lose out on that wild card because the playoffs have been so tough to get in this team. But what can you say? I guess that was a tight race altogether, even Miami. But losing 8 of 10, that's what killed us. We just really tanked down the stretch. But hopefully our owner will be proud. Are happy enough to give me an extension. And today, by the way, I put in my order for Out of the Park version 20. So I think I'll probably at that point retire this playthrough and start something else. There's a few features in the new version that I'm wanting to try out, but I hate to go out a loser if this is what it's going to come down to. The Cincinnati Reds playthrough that I had was way more successful, and maybe it's just that I'm just not as good of a manager, on-field manager, as I need to be. But I've had some good luck over the years playing like this, GM and manage both, and this has just been a very challenging playthrough. So I guess I'll just have to leave it at that. Maybe I'll send through the playoffs and the awards offline, and we'll see how the playoffs go, and get ready for the offseason on the next episode. But to end this one, just to recap the season here overall. You got Baltimore winning, Kansas City winning big, and then Seattle in. And Texas managed to claw their way back and win that last wild card. So it'll be 3 teams from the American League West in the playoffs there. And then you've got the home runs just in the American League were huge. If you look at top 10, let's say, in the American League for home runs, you had Kostinko led the way with 61, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys with 50 or more, and Kinsler here with 49, Myers with 48. That's incredible. And then 154 RBIs from Godsey, who finished with 58 home runs. This guy, Rookie of the Year, hasn't won a major award. His average is a little bit low, strikes out a lot. He's probably not going to have the wins above replacement consistently to get him up there in the MVP, but he has hit 50 or more in every season that he's been a starter or regular in the majors. So that's got to be something. That's an accomplishment. I don't know if anybody's ever done that in the history of the game. Back to the standings and leaders. See if anything really stands out. Medina did wind up leading in batting. Great season from him. 7.2 WAR. He has been a former MVP when he was with when he was with Kansas City. He won it last year. So he may repeat with those kind of numbers. It's a really solid line. 17 wins from a couple guys here to lead the league. Zach Owenby again leading in strikeouts. He's led in strikeouts most of his career, and he's up to 2,300 now. He's probably got 2-3 more years of really good productivity, and it might hit 3,000 for his career. 44 saves to lead the way there. And then in the National League, we had a few guys show up. Koopman finished, second in batting. Villa wound up third. Gordon, second in home runs. First in RBIs. I'm not familiar with Zane Rosas. He had a good year, but that's with Colorado. And he hit 244, which is not saying a whole lot with Colorado. I think Gordon may have an outside chance at the MVP, even though, once again, Renaga is leading in wins above replacement. You can't ever tell with Gordon being quite a bit better in home runs and RBIs and hitting over 300 and 2-time player of the month or batter of the month. I think he should get it over Renaga, but we'll see on the next episode. LaRue did wind up winning or leading the league in wins, third in strikeouts. Doubt if he will get the MVP or the Cy Young though. Juan Jorge Arcs, if that's how you say it. He might have a decent chance, but not a lot of wins for him. So I don't know. LaRue, his ERA 4.27. I've seen some strange things though before with this game, so we'll see. He may have a shot. But that's going to do it for this episode. I'll sim offline and go through the playoffs and be back to tell you how all that went. And we got only about a week or so before Out of the Park 20 hits. So I don't know if I'll have time to squeeze in another 4-year playthrough before that time or not, but I'll give it a go this weekend. And until then, thanks for watching, subscribing, liking, and I'll see you next episode.